Let me tell you one simple recipe for not enjoying the process. That is to be attached to the outcome. And what happens when you go your entire life being attached to the outcome? Money, views, results. You end up laying on your deathbed realizing that you tried your entire life to control things that are outside of your control. So how do we find this middle ground where, yes, we want to show up and we do want to make progress, but we don't want to be so attached to the outcome that it sets us up for these unenjoyable feelings? I mean, just take a second to imagine what it would feel like to be able to be consistent and enjoy the process, and you keep showing up, you keep learning new things, you keep applying those new things, and all of a sudden you look up one day and you've been making all the progress that you're looking for. Because let me tell you, for years, I operated from a place of seeking validation, looking for a certain number of views. And this goes all the way back to the moment I started photography back in 2015. I would post on Instagram hoping it would get a certain amount of likes. If it didn't exceed over 100 likes, I'd probably delete the photo. Even though the photo made me happy, I would delete it because I was afraid of how I looked. And I can say that that habit or that lifestyle, that attachment to the outcome played in every single facet of my life, my relationships, my business, my photos, my videos, everything. And it just made me feel miserable at the end of the day. Even though I had fun taking the photos, editing them, as soon as I pressed publish, I would feel like this anxiety. It's like, is that really what we want to live our entire life feeling? Is that, oh my God, are people going to like this? What are they going to think? Will I feel accepted finally? Will I finally find that validation I'm looking for? I don't know about you, but that has been a strong priority for me both this year and last year. It's just detach from the results, because I want to be on my deathbed knowing that I did the thing for me. I did it for me, and if people like it, great. But at the end of the day, I did it because I enjoyed it. So in this video, I just want to take some time to reflect on the things that have worked for me, that have helped me detach, and give you some tools and resources to move forward in your life and operate from a place of, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it because of that, period. When I'm operating from that place of, this is enjoyable, I love this, I just want to put this out there, and I don't care how it does, I feel so much better about my life, and I feel so much more excited to get to the next project, and I feel like I do better work because I'm present with my work. I'm not thinking into the future about what people will think. I'm not thinking into the past on how something else did that maybe is related to this project that I'm working on. I just simply work on the project, and I get it to the finish line, and I go to the next one. And that has been, I can't tell you how good it feels to operate from this place, because for so long I didn't. And so by the end of this video, my goal for you is to just simply stop overcomplicating the process. It doesn't have to be that complicated. And I believe if you can just get out of your own way, you can make literally all the progress that you're looking for. But it starts with detachment. So let's talk about it. Now, it's important to realize that your attachment to outcomes is causing ridiculous amount of suffering, and it's also causing a ridiculous amount of resistance. You make that one video, let's say you make your first video, it flops, nobody watches, you feel crushed inside. You feel like, why should I pick up the camera? Nobody cares, this is stupid, I shouldn't have done the first one. I'm just gonna go back to my comfort bubble where nobody can see me and I don't have to face that quote unquote rejection again. Now, if we have this mindset, what is that gonna do for us? Absolutely nothing. And we'll be on that deathbed full of regret, because we didn't pursue the things that we actually wanted to do. So let's first realize that this is just simply a bad habit, meaning that we can flip it into a good habit. We can stop operating that way and find something more helpful. Now, I'm using the example of YouTube videos, content, whatever have you, but this relates to everything in life. This relates to your business, your health, your relationships, all of it. Now, I want to tell you a quick story. So whenever I was graduating from college, let's say around 2021, that era, I had this expectation on myself, this outcome that I was yearning for by the age of 25. I felt like I was going to have this 6-figure business. I was going to be super successful. I wasn't going to have a worry in the world, beautiful relationship, living exactly where I wanted to, and just living life, right? Making these YouTube videos. What I have learned is that expectations, especially on yourself, can be a recipe for self-destruction. Because whenever I reached 25 and I had nothing that I thought that I was gonna have, I self-sabotaged like crazy. But inside, I was feeling absolutely miserable about life. Had I not put that expectation on myself and said, look, you know what, we're all going through a natural disaster right now, or a pandemic, giving myself a little grace, maybe 25 isn't the age to have it all figured out. That is definitely something I've realized. Your 20s is all about throwing shit at the wall, doing new stuff, following your curiosity, seeing where it takes you, and not having any sort of expectations on what the outcome is going to be. Anyways, back to my story. Years of self-sabotage went on. After 25, 26, 27, I would say for 3 years, I faced an immense amount of self-sabotage. And I don't think it really served me. Like, yes, I think going through that pain made it so painful that I realized the impact of self-sabotage. And in a way, I'm grateful for the experience because it taught me so much about myself. But did it need to happen? Maybe. But moving forward, I'm not gonna do that to myself. I'm not gonna have this expectation on myself. Yes, I'm gonna have goals. Yes, I'm gonna have things that I'm aiming towards, but I'm not gonna have such crazy expectations that if I don't hit those goals, then I'm a failure, that I can't do anything in my life, that I'm not worth anything, because that's all just fucking bullshit. And it's a story that we're telling ourselves. Now, I'll tell you the first thing that has helped me alleviate this attachment to the outcome, which is discovering your purpose. If you don't have a deeper purpose or a why behind what it is that you're trying to do, you're always going to be focused on the outcomes. You're always going to be counting up the numbers, the dollar signs, the zeros, all of it. But if you have a purpose and you show up and make these videos because you simply want to help the world, doesn't matter how many people you help, you just want to help. If it's one person, great. If it's nobody, great. I'm still doing it because I have a voice, or at least I believe I have a voice, and that's enough. So take the time to ask yourself why. Like, why do I want to pursue music? Why do I want to make content? Why do I want to make this business? Why do I want to stay in this 9 to 5? You can have a purpose in a 9 to 5. It doesn't have to be entrepreneurship or, freelancing. And look, your purpose can always change. I'm rereading a book right now that's called The Way of the Superior Man. And he talks about how you can think of your purpose like an onion. At the very core, the nucleus of the onion is your purpose, your deepest purpose. But you can't go straight to the core, can you? You have to peel it off layer by layer. So first you have this outer layer purpose, and it sounds good for maybe a couple months. Then you realize there's a deeper purpose, and you keep on shedding and shedding and shedding and shedding until you get to that core purpose. Meaning that don't overcomplicate and make it the perfect purpose. Just get started with something that feels good to you. Because over time, you're going to shed a layer, shed a layer, shed a layer, shed a layer. And ultimately, the goal is to be on your deathbed knowing that you fulfilled your purpose. But it starts with that outer layer. So just start. Just pick something and roll with it. Now I want to talk a little bit about how to detach from yourself. Because in my opinion, this is the ultimate battle. It's your ego. If you've ever heard of Ryan Holiday, he has a book called Ego is the Enemy. And it's because our ego plays these stories in our minds that just gets in our ways. And it's like, dude, we don't have to operate that way. So first thing I want you to do is to focus on what you can control. What are some things you can control as far as YouTube? You can definitely control pressing the record button. You can control thinking of a new idea. You can control the process of bringing that idea to life. You can control the research. You can control the exposure to the world that maybe will spark an idea for you. There's lots of things that you can control. Focus on that. The way people see it, the way people respond to it, the haters, the lovers. You can't control any of that. So just surrender to it and just say, look, if you hate it, you love it, I don't care, because this is me and I'm figuring out what my purpose is. Now, earlier I was talking about how when you're attached to the outcomes, you're either in the past or the future. You're reflecting on some shitty outcome you had in the past and you're using it to expect something shitty in the future, right? So what does that mean? It means that you're not present. And I know one thing that helps me remain present, or at least find my presence again, is just taking a deep breath, like And while I do that deep breath, I think about my purpose. And also, I think about the positive feedback that I've had. There's definitely somebody out there who's enjoying what you're doing. Do it for them if you need to. If it's not enough for you to do it for yourself, think about the one person who supports you. It could be your best friend. It could be your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother. Think about those people and realize that we do have a negativity bias. So it's easy to focus on the negative, but just realize that that's like part of our psychology. It's a survival thing. So if you can reframe the mindset towards positivity, chances are you'll get out of that yearning for a certain outcome. You'll just be like, hey, I'm here doing the thing that I'm doing, and that's it. This next one is easier said than done, but it's worth repeating, which is to accept yourself for everything that you are right now. Accept your imperfections, accept the accept the flaws, accept the pimples, accept the crusty lips, accept the eye boogers, accept the fact that maybe this plant isn't exactly where I want it to be. It's okay. Those types of things you're not gonna be on your deathbed worrying about. In a way, I think it's a beautiful thing to look at those imperfections and be thankful for them. Like, wow, that makes me stand out. Or I don't know if that's necessarily a good way to do it. Oh, my crusty lips make me stand out. Yippee. No, I don't think that's the case. But don't put yourself down, man. Like, you have to be your own best friend, and that comes with trial and error. And maybe that's easier for me now that I was my absolute worst friend, not even a friend in the past, through all that self-sabotage. So realize that it's a process, but take that deep breath, practice some mindfulness and self-acceptance, because that's going to take you a long way, not this attachment to what people think. Now, with this self-acceptance comes compassion, and a way that I see this is that I have my flaws, you have your flaws, everybody has their flaws. And instead of wishing that everybody was perfect, we can all see that as a way to relate to each other. I might have crusty lips right now, doesn't mean you have crusty lips, but maybe my crusty lips might give you the grace to be like, oh yeah, I did fumble all over my words, but that's okay, because Ashton's lips are crusty. Okay, that was a joke, but think about it as if you are taking care of a loved one who really needs your help and they're not able to walk to the restroom and you have to help them with that. That sort of compassion of just loving yourself enough that you carry yourself through shitty situations and help yourself through shitty situations by being a friend to yourself. In my experience, I'm not perfect. I don't have perfect days where I'm always accepting of myself, but at least I know that if I do choose to accept myself, I will feel better in the end. Now look, if I were to do all of this by myself and I didn't have anyone to talk to, I didn't have anybody to share my feelings with, I didn't have anybody to ask advice or support from, I probably would not be sitting here talking to you. The point there is to surround yourself with people who support you. Seek support. And not only that, but be a helping hand to other people who are struggling, because you'll find yourself giving advice to other people that you need to give to yourself. That support goes both ways. And if you can create a group of people that you can lean on through these tough times or these moments where you feel really attached to the outcome and you're overcomplicating everything and they can just snap you right out of it, that has been so helpful to me personally. If you don't have any physical people around you to talk to, build relationships online. There are people out there at the same stage as you who need your help and would be more than willing to offer that help in return. Now, the number one key to detaching from the outcome is to embrace uncertainty. My last video that I put out, I felt so much uncertainty because it was not a video that I've done before. I have not vlogged. Why did I just say it like that? I've not vlogged in so long. At least I would say maybe 8 to 10 months. I could be wrong about that. Who knows? But it's been a while. And on top of that, I've never made such a long video just documenting my day and answering questions. Like, that is not something that I usually do on this channel. At least this year I haven't. So with that came so much uncertainty, but I leaned into it anyway because I actually enjoyed making the video. It felt good to do something different. I knew in the back of my mind, if people were interested enough to ask these questions, they'd be interested enough to watch this video and hopefully gain value from it. If it's just the people who ask questions who watch the video, I'm fine with that. Here you go. No expectation. I don't want anything back. You don't even have to watch it. You don't even have to like it. Like, I just hope it helps. That's it. One person. And if it doesn't, okay, I'll move on to the next one and I'll help somebody with that video. The one thing that has definitely helped me detach from the outcome is having a system. So I'm gonna take a sec to just share the Dreamflow operating system because I think it can help. It certainly has helped me a ton. Now, this product was something that I worked on for 6 months, and I was basically trying to set up systems for myself to where it was so freaking easy to stay consistent that I had no excuses to be attached to the outcome. And one way that I do this is I monitor my entire creative process from start to finish. I also manage my client work from start to finish on there. Manage all my tasks that need to get done. It makes my life 10 times easier. So if you're interested in checking that out, I strongly believe that systems is the antidote to being too attached to the outcome. So if you want to check it out, Dreamflow operating system is in the description. Now let's get back to the video. Now the next thing that I would suggest doing to detach from the outcome is to set boundaries. So for example, one boundary that I have is when I post a YouTube video, I don't look at the results for at least 2 days because I want to already be thinking about my next idea. Sitting there refreshing the results and looking at comments and what people think, even if it is positive feedback, I don't want to let that distract me from my system, from my process. And also, I just put all that work in and I want to rest. It's just like an athlete. You play a championship game or something, a really important game. Then afterward, you rest. That rest is crucial. If you go into practice the next day, you go hard as fuck and you're like, watching the tape back from yesterday and you're like obsessing over it and you're like eating your dinner while you're looking at tape and stuff, like that's just okay, I'll speak for myself. That does not sound like a exciting lifestyle. What I do like is having some rest, some time away from social media, from content, from creativity in general, and just living my life, being with my friends, going to play sports, being outside, randomly going to this music festival. Those are the things that I need in my life to remain consistent. Otherwise, I'm going to burn out so quickly. That doesn't have to look exactly the same for you. Maybe you are the type of person who likes to watch tape back the next day. I think the point I'm making here is to realize when you're out of balance, when you're out of whack. Because how can you possibly create your best work, operate from a place of self-alignment if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't set boundaries, if you do let people walk all over you, if you do let yourself walk all over yourself, right? So set those boundaries. Pay attention to the things that make you feel icky inside, the things that don't light you up, or the days that you do feel down, and ask yourself why. Peel it back, right? Why? Why do I feel this way? What sparked this? What was the first moment I felt this shitty feeling? And what can I point at to maybe find clues as to how I can set boundaries moving forward? One great way to do this is to build a journaling habit. I recently started doing therapy through BetterHelp. It has been a great experience so far. And my therapist suggested me to get back into journaling because I had a habit of only journaling in my life whenever I was going through shit, instead of just making it a habit and always checking in with myself, being in tune with myself, and doing that practice because it is beneficial. So if you are going through a rough time, or if you are feeling fucking great about your life, I recommend that you journal and reflect on why. Always ask yourself why and write it down, because when you get those thoughts out of your mind and on paper, it becomes tangible, it becomes actionable, it kind of separates you from that feeling. It's like, oh, okay, I see it now. What can I do about it? And then you just make the steps moving forward. And also, it's a great place to reflect. Like today I was on my call with my therapist and she was asking me about highs and lows. I told her highs straight off the bat, but then she was like, how about the lows? And I was like, wait, let me grab my journal. because I couldn't think of any lows off the top of my head. I was just feeling good in the moment. I've been having a great day today. So I go into my journal and I realize, oh, there is a low to talk about. And that's kind of like the point of journaling. It gives you clues as to patterns that maybe you were shrugging under the rug, right? It helps you build awareness. And awareness is the first step to making a positive change. We all know that. Whether it's a 30-second practice, a 5-minute practice, 10-minute practice, just put pen to paper. I promise you, you will find answers. I can guarantee that. And this is coming from somebody who had resistance towards doing it. So give it a shot. Now, overall, the main thing that has made a difference in my life comes down to one simple word: curiosity. I notice for myself that when I'm operating from a place of curiosity and I'm simply showing up because I'm curious, I want to know more, I'm admitting that I don't know it all, I feel so much better about the process. I feel so much better about myself. I feel so much more excitement for being alive. There's so many benefits to it. The first step to diving into curiosity is creating space. Creating space for boredom. Creating space for stillness, for silence, just sitting there. And letting the thoughts in your mind do their thing, not distracting yourself with social media, not distracting yourself with Netflix. And the most important thing to remember is that all you have is now. Tomorrow never comes. You have the choice to take your agency back, to make the decision and push your effort in a meaningful direction today, right now. Do you want to continue living in the past? Do you want to continue living in the future? Or do you want to surrender to the present moment, dwell in your curiosity, and ask yourself, what is the next thing that I want to do simply for the sake of doing it? Not for what people will think of me, not for getting some badge of honor, not from getting acceptance from this person or this female or this man, just simply doing it because you want to do it. Because you and I both know that when you're on your deathbed and you can look back on your life knowing that you did shit that you wanted to do for you, you're going to be so much more at peace. And I can guarantee that you would make so much more progress in your life than if you did the opposite. Thank you so much for watching this video. Remember to check out Dreamflow Operating System if you're interested in creating systems for your entire life, business, content, etc. Go check that out. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.